Yo, yo, who all's there with me right now? We got anybody? Where y'all from? Y'all hear me okay? Savannah? Nice. Who else we got in here? In the house from Philly, Fresh Prince. Oh, man. It's an honor. It's an honor. New Orleans, Becky? I lived out in New Orleans for a while. What part of New Orleans are you in? Which parish? Virgin Islands. Oscar. What is happening? Val. Hey, Val. Where are you from, Val? Y'all hearing me okay? I've got some music playing here. What? Jefferson? Oh, nice. I went to that seminary that's down there in New Orleans. New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary. Don't hold it against me. Connecticut, Joyce. Glad y'all are here. Loud and clear. Love it. Love it. All right. If you're just now joining us, we're going to give it like 2 more minutes. Let everybody kind of jump in. Tell me where you're from in the chat real quick. Brenda here. What's up, Brenda? Sean. Tucson, Arizona. Nova Scotia. I've heard of that. Never been there. Let's see. Hey, Kelly. Thanks for jumping in there. Independence. Love it. I'm bumping a little Daniel Johns right now. Any of y'all ever heard of that guy? Daniel Johns? It's not Christian. Get over it. It's okay. If you're just now joining us, we're going to get started in like a minute, 2 minutes or something like that. We're going to let as many people as possible kind of jump in here. All right, so is it mostly guitar players, piano players? Let me know over there. That'll kind of help me too, to know how to gear this thing. Guitar players or, hey, can you play Mercy Me, Fresh Prince? No, not at all. No, Mercy Me folks are they're good folks. Arlington, good afternoon. Guitar, okay, nice, nice. Lead guitar or rhythm guitar? Brenda, Pastor. I don't know that that's an instrument, but that's awesome. Bongos. Guitar, you're grooving, Keith. Joyce. You know, the second I hear music, like my body just kind of starts doing that. It's cheesy, but whatever. Singer, I play some chords on piano. Nice. It's like some diamonds. I like that. Usually guitar. Okay, very cool, very cool. Are any of y'all rhythm? All right, nice. Are any of y'all, are you just worship leaders, or are you worship leaders and kind of artists? So you're kind of playing out live? Let me know over in the chat. And if you're just now joining us, we're going to get started in like a minute, okay? This is Keith Cook. I may take some questions while you're on here. Go to Twitter, @EnglishCooking, over on Twitter, and just shoot me some questions over there, and I might, if we have time to get to them, I'll jump into a couple of them. Worship leader acoustic, okay, Evan, Aline, worship leader acoustic. Having trouble with my connection. Oh, I'll stop moving so much, maybe. Audrey from Cyprus, singer, worship leader, artist, North Carolina, love it. Melissa, keyboard, good for you. Very, very cool, very cool. All right, 1 minute, guys. My name's Keith Cook. Go follow me over at Twitter, @EnglishCooking. You maybe see it right in there. And shoot me some questions if you've got them. Thomas, what are you listening to? Let me see if I can hold it up here. Let's see here. Well, that's what it was. Daniel Johns. Boom. I'm actually going to kind of cut it out here. Awesome. All right, guys, y'all ready to get started? Give me the number 1 if y'all are kind of ready to get going. And this is like a super special Rocket Company webinar because I'm not pitching anything, okay? No sales pitch at the end. I will tell you right now, though, Worship Rocket is awesome. If you have questions about it, email me. We'll get it going, whatever. But that's all I'm going to say about it. It looks like 1, 1, 1, boom, love it. David, howdy from North Carolina, love it. Sean, Evan, Josiah, Raquel, is that how you say that? Kathy, Niles, am I in the right place? Niles, you're in the exact right place, brother. Percy, love Worship Rocket. Awesome. Oscar, I love that. Okay, are y'all going over? My name's Keith Cook. We're going to get started right now. Go over to Twitter. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Instagram, I think I just posted a picture. You can jump on into that comment maybe. It's at English Cooking as well. But we're going to get started here. I'm going to erase this from the board real quick. Okay, so we've got mostly like just pure worship folks on here. We've got a couple of artists. And so what I have decided to do with this webinar is pick 3 books. Now, here's the caveat for the books. I was like, I can go super spiritual with the books, and you know, your heart has to be in the right place. And there are so many amazing books that are out there for that kind of stuff. But I decided not to do that. I respect everybody's walk with the Lord, like completely. I respect it so much, and I believe that if you are firmly rooted in the Bible and you're surrounding yourself with godly influencers and folks who are always pointing you back to the gospel. Why don't you call it Worship Rocket? Haha, very cute. But so I kind of stayed away from more of the spiritual side, although I'm going to cover a little bit of that just real quick. But these books are what helped me kind of break through a plateau period that I had gotten on, and they really allowed me to push through creatively the person that I wanted to be with my music and with my worship. I didn't feel like I was there. And I think were any of y'all on the Heart of the Artist? Yeah, that's a good one. Were any of y'all on the other webinar that I did? Put a 2 in the chat to let me know. But you heard a little bit about my story, and so you know that like I've done like the bluegrass stuff, the Western stuff, some of the alt rock stuff, and kind of turned that into playing worship, and had to really reset my expectations based off of what I felt like a gospel-focused, a gospel-centered worship leader needed to be focused on. And I didn't want to be a performer, you know, on stage. I wanted to, though, choose songs that I knew were going to connect, and I wanted to be proficient enough with my voice and with my instrument. I wanted the band to be proficient enough to where nothing interfered. Oh, got a lot of 2, sweet. Nothing interfered with communicating that message. And so the books that I've got are going to help you as a creative person, okay? So I'm going to dive into those in just a second. But real quick, I do not assume that everybody on this call is reading their Bible every day. I know statistically, I think we kept this webinar like really, we just sent it out to folks who were on that last webinar. And so we've got a very intimate group. And even with the 60 or 70 folks that we've got on the call right now, I don't assume that everybody in here is reading their Bible every day. And so we've got to start like right there. And so real quick, I'm just going to show you kind of what I do as a baseline for Bible study. And like, give me 2 minutes just to kind of cover this, because if you're not doing anything, let this be the webinar where you kind of put that line in the sand, so to speak, and then you start moving forward with that. It does not have to be intimidating. All right, good. You guys are still in there. How many of you guys, what Bible translation are you using right now? Let me know. Hey, Joseph. Glad you could make it, brother. Hey, Tabitha. Hang in there with the buffering. Let me know in the chat what kind of Bible you're using. Awesome, awesome. ESV, NIV, NRSV, what is that? I don't even know what that is. NLT, Message and ESV, nice, nice. NIV, okay, that's awesome. So New King James, good for you, Audrey. Savannah, wow, you're really rocking and rolling there. Bam, awesome, awesome. Change it up regularly. That's an awesome thing to do. Okay, so here's what I do, guys. You're a leader. You're responsible for worship at your church, okay? Your heart has got to be in the right place. And so before I get to these other books, which are a bit more practical and kind of things that you need to do, let's just make sure that we're all on the same page. So here's what I do. With whatever passage that I am reading, I ask two questions. And sometimes it'll go deeper than this, but often I get enough out of that takes up like an hour. Really, really quick. But whatever passage that I am reading through, the first question that I ask is, who are you, Lord? What does this passage say about God? What does it say about who God is? So that's the first question. And then I literally get out a notepad just like this. This is what my notes are on. I don't know if you can see that. Good grief. Just such a mess. But I'll get out a notepad, and kind of at the top up here, I'll write down, who are you, Lord, at the top of the page. And then let's say it's Hebrews 1 that I'm kind of going through. I'll just take that first little bit, and right through Hebrews 1, I'll say, okay, this is what it's saying about who God is. So then number 2, what I do, hang with me, just give me like one more minute. Number 2, what I do is, in light of number 1, in light of who God is, number 2 is, what should I do? What shall I do? So in light of what I just learned about God, what is now my response? And that's where the meditation piece really comes in for me. And so I'll spend some time thinking about, okay, where am I at spiritually? In light of what I just read about God, what is my response to that? Okay, and so I'll find, guys, are any of y'all songwriters? Do you write any songs? Let me know in the chat. Just say yes over in the chat. With that, I'll find that a lot of songs come out of that. A lot of stuff that I am kind of working through spiritually comes out of that. What shall I do? The conviction, if I get convicted about something, man, I'll put it right there as well. And so guys, I do that every day. Okay, even on Sundays. I do it every single day, and whenever I don't, man, I can feel it. I can feel it. And so what I want to encourage everybody to do from this moment forward, I don't assume. I wrote the song "Here I Am, Lord." Niles, awesome, man. Very cool. From here on out, guys, stay committed to staying in the Word, okay? We don't want to lose our perspective, and whenever I go into some of these books, if you don't have a gospel perspective, you'll miss the point. You'll do it for your own self, or you'll do it out of your own vanity, and that's not what we want. We want it to be for God's glory. The way that you do that, staying deeply rooted in the Word, and through prayer, through surrounding yourself with those godly people that can kind of speak into you and mentor you along the way. I'm going to check Twitter real quick. So let's see, we got a couple questions. All right, guys, real quick. Go over to Twitter, @EnglishCooking. Shoot me a couple of questions. Whenever we get to the end, I'll go through there, and if we have any questions, I'll try to answer some of them. So, book number 1. Are you ready for book number 1? Put 1 over in the chat. I love the chat thing. That's like how I know people are actually there. How many folks do we have on here? We've got 66 people. Sweet. Hey, guys, if you are just now joining us, we're going over 3 books. We're going over a couple other things, and there's no pitching. There's no sales stuff at the end. It's all just pure content. And again, this is like only worship leaders and only artists would even understand or be halfway interested in any of this kind of stuff. So I'm getting like crazy, crazy grassroots, very practical for myself, and I hope that it helps you guys. Okay, so number 1, boom. So number 1, where's my marker at? Damn. Okay, so number 1, can you read that over there? War of Art. Now, stay with me for all you super, super spiritual people. Stay with me. Don't hang out, or don't leave. So it's The War of Art, not to be confused with The Art of War. That is not the book that I want you to read. This is The War of Art. And actually, you know what? Whoever asked the best question on Twitter, I'll send this book to them. Okay? So if you need any more incentive, nice shirt, Keith. Hey, thanks, brother. I appreciate it. So shoot me your questions over there. I'll pick one, and then we'll chat, and I'll get your address or whatever. So this is written by Steven Pressfield. Okay? So for me personally, this is why I think worship leaders and artists really need to read this. It's a secular book, okay? And what you're going to have to do is read through this book with a gospel perspective so that you don't lose that gospel perspective as you're reading it. But whatever it is that you are trying to do with your church, with your worship culture, with as an artist, if you're trying to grow your fan base, whatever it may be, do you have a goal for it? Okay? How many of y'all are doing goals? Give me a yes over in the chat. Maybe that's where we need to start with this whole thing, is goals. Oh my goodness, that's exactly what we need to do. Handy notes. Okay, everybody here, you need to have 3 goals that you're working on for this quarter. Okay? So write down 3 goals. Savannah, yes, thank you. Write down 3 goals, and actually, you know what I'd like you to do? I'd like you to email me the goals. I don't even think that you're serious unless you email me. How about that? Keith@therocketcompany.com. Email me your goals, because I want to see them, and I might even pull one or 2 up real quick, but I won't read them out loud. But you gotta have a vision of where you want to go with your worship culture, where you want to go professionally. Okay, I don't want to get all Brian Tracy on you, but the second that you write your goals, okay, I have not planned to really write on the board. I'm a left-handed person. I erase half the stuff that I put up there. So like, there's your target right here. This is your target. Okay, so you can see that right there. There's your target. And here's you right here. Okay, if you don't know the target, it's common sense. You will not get anywhere close to it. So what we have to do here is like, here's Keith right here. Keith, I'm an artist or I'm a worship leader, and I want to try to grow our worship culture at the church. I want engagement. I want whatever it may be. Or I want to introduce some new songs. Maybe I want to write 10 songs this year and play one of them in church, or whatever it may be. It doesn't matter. Whatever God is kind of putting on your heart for that next season of life, that's what you want to do. So there's your target. So now what you have to do is go and find resources, books. This is where like a Worship Rocket program kind of comes in there and helps. It's a resource that helps you get to the goal. If your goal is to grow those things, well, that's what you do, okay? End of sales pitch. But books like this, okay, now that we've got the goal, how do we go about getting there? So War of Art will help you kind of break through those blocks, because you think going right to your goal, you think it's really, really easy. You know, you just think it's a straight path to do it, but in reality, it's like, you know, it's that right there. And so you can't, you'll hit obstacles along the way. And whenever you hit those obstacles, what are you going to do about it? Okay? What are you going to do about it? That's where War of Art comes in crazy handy. So Steven Pressfield, he calls it resistance. And really what that means is whenever you identify what you feel like God is really, really calling you to, let's say you want to write a book, you want to write songs, you want to try to grow your church by 300 people, whatever it may be, and then you set out to do it, you will encounter resistance. It is like everything on the planet just kind of comes against you, and you don't want to sit there and write. You don't want to get better at your instrument. You don't want to write your songs. You don't want to do that, and you start filling it up with other things. And you'll find a gospel perspective on that is basically, I strongly believe that every person, every worship leader especially, every artist, every Christian has got a mountain that God has given you to climb. At any given season, you have got a mountain that God has given you to climb. And it's your job to get the tools and get everything that you need to get to base camp. Then once you get to base camp, you scale. You scale the summit. And so you'll find that as you're kind of traveling up that mountain, that literally everything on the planet will go wrong. The weather turns bad, your gear doesn't work, this breaks, you get fired, whatever it may be, and it resets you. And what you have to do is make the decision on the goal, decide within yourself, this is what I feel like God is wanting me to do, and no matter what the obstacle is, I'm going to press on through there. Are y'all tracking with me? Give me a yes with an exclamation point if you're tracking with me. And Kelly, can you let me know if there's any questions? I'm seeing you over in the chat, but I can't switch over to Twitter. Maybe shoot me a text. But okay, so that's book number 1. Okay, goal setting. Was that cheesy? Sorry. Like I like absolutely. I have to have goals, guys. I have to have goals because without it, I drift. And you know what drifting is? What I found for me, whenever boom, I love all the yeses. Joseph, Melissa, Sandy, Dwayne, Percy, Joyce, Valerie. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. This lets me know that it's not just me. I feel like a weirdo half the time because good stuff. Yes, yes. I feel like a weirdo half the time because as a person who really struggles creatively to be the person that I feel like God wants me to be, I encounter so much resistance. And it is constantly going back to the Word, going back to the gospel, preaching the gospel to myself. I hope y'all know what that means. But it is through that I keep climbing the mountain, and I keep getting there. And then you know what? I conquer that goal. I scale the mountain, and whenever I get there, I don't plant a flag for myself because that's not what it's about. I plant a flag for Christ, and through all of the obstacles, it is a way to create dependency on Christ. The bigger, higher the mountain, the bigger the goal, it is only saying that you're going to have to become very, very dependent on God for that. And you've got to put in the work. It's your responsibility to do all these things. But man, anytime that you have to make 2 choices, it is my default to say which choice will create more dependency on God, because chances are that's what I need to do. That's exactly the place and where your heart will thrive the most. So that's just me. My goal for the quarter: grow the Keith Cook Worship Beard. David, we'll be doing a webinar on that later. No. Okay, so book number 2. I've rambled enough. So I hope I've got book number 2 right here. I hope that you guys are writing songs as worship leaders. The number 1 place that the Lord worked the most through me was through writing. And I had no desire to write songs, had no desire to really do that too much. But I found that whenever I committed to writing, creatively, the floodgates burst open. So if you've ever wanted to write songs, if you do write songs, whatever it may be, this next book has helped me more than any other book on the planet, and really just as a writer in general, and communicating my ideas to people, whether through a blog post or an ebook or a webinar or whatever it may be. This book has helped tremendously. So, bam, there's the next one, writing better lyrics. I'm going to write this on the board real quick. Oh, Savannah. Let me see that question there. What is drifting? I'll get right back to it. Hold on. Y'all hang with me, hang with me. Okay, Writing Better Lyrics by Pat Pattison. Okay, so what is drifting? I'm going to get to the book in 1 second. This is so important. Savannah, like, that was of God that you asked that question. I strongly believe that. So drifting. Is it Hebrews 1? Gosh, I'm not a Bible scholar, and I'm terrible at remembering Scripture. But I believe it's either Hebrews 1 or 2 where it talks about fighting the drift. And goodness, you're scaling the mountain, right? So here's your goal up here, and here's Keith, and I'm trying to scale the mountain, and it gets hard, and I encounter obstacles. I encounter obstacles. Let me hold this up for some of y'all. Whenever I encounter obstacles, instead of pushing through the obstacle, I'll avoid it, maybe. That's drifting. Avoiding the calling that God has put on your heart. If you're avoiding it, or if you're doing it in vain, you're drifting. And we as believers want to, man, you have to always be on guard for the drift. Stephen Pressfield in War of Art, he calls it resistance. But we know better, and we know that from a gospel perspective, it's drifting. And it's drifting away from what God's calling you to do. So does that answer that question for you, Savannah? And I think Hebrews will give like a tremendous, tremendous context. Guys, Hebrews is my favorite book. We should do a webinar just on Hebrews. It would be amazing. Hey, for any of you people, I saw a couple more people kind of come in. My name's Keith Cook. Shoot me some questions over on Twitter at English Cooking. Whoever has the best question, I'll send you this book. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, I'll send one person this book right here. This is like my copy of the book, so you'll just have to thumb through it and you'll see my notes and everything. So, book number 2. Are we ready for number 2? Give me a number 2 real quick. I'm gonna throw up number 2. So, number 2, writing better lyrics. You're an artist, whether you like it or not. As a worship leader, you are creatively like the go-to person at your church, most likely. Okay, here we go. There's like a little bit of a delay with this. So I'm just now getting the 2s. Oh, well, I'm going to drink some coffee. Hold on. Boom. Hey, best coffee shop in Nashville, by the way. Don't know if you can see that. Boom. Man, a lot of 2s. Awesome. Hey, Valerie. Hey, Josiah. Kamani, it's a cool name. Dee Dee, David, Evan, thank you guys for the 2s. All right, so Writing Better Lyrics by Pat Pattison. So if you have ever wondered about what makes a song good versus the kind of songs that people like just snore through, this dude literally tells you why. Like literally. He gives you exercises that will bring out the creativity in you no matter what. Absolutely, no matter what. This is my 4th copy of this book, and I've worn them out. I go through it. I do the exercises almost every day. Whenever I'm co-writing with people, I do it. I know some of y'all are artists. If you're an artist, read this book today. Like, go buy it today and devour it. It will change your life. Professionally, if you're trying to be an artist, if you're trying to write songs for your church, it will change your life. Absolutely. John Mayer took Pat's class, and Gillian Welch. I'm trying to think of some other like really famous writers that all took his class over at Berkeley, and they credit him for like opening up them creatively to understand like what makes a good metaphor. Oh, I wonder if we could do a metaphor game real quick that he talks about. Maybe we'll do like a giant co-write for a webinar. That would be kind of fun. Would anyone like to co-write on a webinar? Yes. Maybe, I don't know. Tell me yes over in the chat. Let me tell you a few things here that will hopefully kind of get you going with this book. So he talks about object writing. Object writing is something that as a creative person, you need to be doing every single day. And object writing is literally pick an object in the room, set your timer for 10 minutes. I get my phone, I do a 10-minute timer, I pick an object. Let's say I'd pick this as an object, just this marker as an object. I'd sit it on a table, and then I go about writing about it, and I use sense-bound concrete images to describe it, okay? And you're wanting to do like what things do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you touch? How does your body internally feel about it? You're just writing, like stream of consciousness writing for 10 minutes. That will, like, I'm getting giddy thinking about it. It will unlock the creativity, and you will be writing some of the richest songs 60 days from now. If you'll commit to 60 days of doing that for 10 minutes a day, goodness gracious, it's going to change your life. I'm pumped about it. Like, it's It's absolutely amazing. So Keith likes to smell markers. Well, don't hold it against me, Joseph. Come on. So that's the first thing that's in that book that absolutely changed my life. Now the second thing, let me flip through it here. He goes over metaphors and how to create rich metaphors that will become the basis and the bedrock for all of your songs. The best way that I can explain the metaphor thing quickly is like a good metaphor. I'm not a huge English person, but a good metaphor creates tension between two ideas or two words maybe. And so whenever you put two words together that do not go together, it sparks creatively something in your mind and in the listener's mind. And what I was doing this morning, I was doing this exercise this morning, and I wrote the word impossible, and then I wrote the word heart. And whenever I put those together and I say impossible heart, it like means something to me. And I wrote a whole song just based off of that idea of impossible heart. So, for what it's worth, if you're a musician, if you're an artist, if you write, if you're creative in any capacity, this is hands down something that you need to go buy today. I wish I had an Amazon link that I would put it here. Pat Pattison, Writing Better Lyrics. That is literally a game changer of a book. So number one, War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. And then, thank you, Kelly. Damn, perfect. Pat Pattison, Writing Better Lyrics. Now, the third book, which has it's been a game changer for me. Like career-wise, for everything, it's been an absolute game changer. And I lent it out last week, seriously. So I'm going to have to pull it up on Audible here. Hold on. Do not look through all of my Audible books. I'm embarrassed. Let's see here. All right, there we go. Mindset by Carol Dweck. I'm going to write it up on the board real quick. Hold on. Mindset by Carol Dweck. So this is what's awesome about this complete Twilight Saga. Joseph, it feels like we would be friends, man. Man, you got me off my train of thought. Mindset, the new psychology of success. All right, don't get hung up on the success part, and and the psychology part. What I want you to get from this is there's an idea called a fixed mindset, and there's an idea called a growth mindset. Okay, for years, guys, I had a fixed mindset, and what that means, as a gospel-believing person, we should all have unbelievable gospel growth mindsets, and we don't. It's awful. So a fixed mindset says, I'm as good as I'm going to get. I'm as smart as I'm going to get. The worship at my church, it is what it is, and I can't change anybody. I can't change the culture there. As a musician, I can't really get any better. I'm too old. Whatever it may be, excuses, if it's an excuse, or if you find yourself blaming anything on anybody else, fixed mindset, okay? So fixed mindset, now moving to a growth mindset, says, you know what? I can get better at stuff. If I've got goals and I'm moving towards them, any kind of obstacle that comes my way, literally just makes me stronger. It makes me better if I press through it. So I can get better. I can become a better musician. All I have to do is find the right things to get me there. And if I didn't like this instructor, or I didn't do this, I'll go and try this, or I'll go and do this. And so it's heavily focused on growth and growing. And so what I want us to do is apply the gospel to that. And don't just leave it with, I'm getting better for my sake. And the end result is Keith is awesome. That's not what we want to do. What you want to do is Keith is doing that for God's glory. So you owe it to Christ to give 100% every single day, and to find out, if you don't know what that mountain is that God wants you to climb, you owe it to yourself right now to shut the webinar down and figure it out. And when you figure that out, then you owe it to Christ to give 100%. And I like to think of it like a light switch. When you make the decision to to scale the mountain, it's like a light switch comes on, and there is no in between there. It's either the light switch comes on or it's off. Have you decided in your mind that no matter the obstacle, I will get to the top of that mountain? Even I'll die trying. And there's an awesome little quote that I kind of want to get like tattooed on my body. It's a Navy SEAL quote from some other book that I read, and it's called what was the name of it? I can't remember. But the quote is, "Embrace the suck." And what that means is a Navy SEAL, like their training, it's awful. We all know that. It's absolutely terrible. And the guys who actually win and succeed at the training for Navy SEALs, they get to the point to where they know it's going to be bad. They know scaling the mountain is going to be awful. And what they do is embrace it. And what we want to do as gospel men and women is to embrace it for God's glory and to love it. Get to where you absolutely love the fact that you're meeting opposition with folks who are coming against you in the worship culture at your church. Get to where you love it, because that creates dependency on God, and it creates this kind of enthusiasm for finding a way through, and not for yourself, but for God. And so any obstacle that you have got that is in your way right now, this book by Carol Dweck, it says that is the exact way that God is trying to work on you. So no matter what that looks like, if you are a musician or an artist or whatever it may be, and you're trying to get 100 fans maybe, or you're trying to produce a worship record for your church to raise money for this or whatever it may be, you have to press through on whatever that may be. Is that making sense? Are y'all still with me? I've not seen anybody in the chat for a while. Give me a yes or something over in the chat. I'm going to take a sip of coffee here. All right, y'all still tracking with me over there? Good, good. All right, thanks, David. Thanks, Kelly. Evan. Eric, awesome. Joseph, cool. Josiah. All right, let's see what else I got here. Do we have artists on here? Put the word artists. Put the word artist over in the chat if you're an artist, because I've got a few things specifically to talk to you guys about. All right, so we covered the Bible study thing real quick. We just covered the 3 books. Do we have is there any of y'all even on Twitter and asking any questions? Let's see here. Oh, okay, nice. We do have a few. Oh man, good stuff, good stuff. All right. Got Joseph. What were your first 3 goals in leadership? Got an awesome thing from David on beards. Hey Keith, in determining your goals for worship ministry, if I consider what are most important to you. That's a good question. Good question. Okay, how many artists? All right, we got a couple of y'all. Nice. Okay, artists, email me your goals that you are working on, like as soon as we get off this call. Keith@therocketcompany.com. Email me your goals. I will make sure that you get really, really close to those goals. I'm not pitching you anything. I'm not trying to sell you anything. But if you feel like you're an artist, you need to get serious with it, and you need to take things to the next level. Okay? And the way that you're going to do that is you're going to go and buy this, you're going to buy this, and you're going to buy that book by Carol Dweck, and you're going to devour. And then we're going to get you guys started on specifically growing your audience and growing your platform and that kind of stuff. But doing it for God, not doing it for yourself, man. Doing anything for yourself is so overrated, and you will run down that road. And let's say you become the next Chris Tomlin, and you lose everything. Trying to do that. It's not worth it. Like, it's so not worth it. And I think everybody knows that. So, of all the things that we covered, what jumps out to you the most? Let me know over in the chat. The Bible study stuff, the books, the goal setting stuff. Let me know over there. Boom. Okay, awesome. And also, I can do as many of these webinars for y'all. Who is Chris Tomlin? Who's this Chris Tomlin guy you're talking about? Drifting, not wanting to quit, Savannah. Yep. Hey, I fight that. I fight that so, so much. Goals. If we did another webinar kind of like this, that's all content, what do y'all need help with? Like, this is a conversation. I'm not pitching you anything. Whoever's on here is on here. I don't care if it's 10 people or if it's 1,000. What do y'all want help with? And try to like go above like the secondary issues of like, well, I can't get my guys to do this, or I can't do that, or whatever. Like, look above that and see, is that a leadership thing? Like, do you need help with leadership, or do you need help with like becoming a better musician? Do you need help with writing, or like what's the next steps? Bible study and metaphor. Hey, that metaphor exercise will change your life, brother. Change your life. And let me tell you, like, real quick, if any of you care, like, whenever I became a professional musician, I'm going to assume about 80-20. I'm going to say 20% of y'all on the call right now are probably professional musicians in your own right. And you're really, really solid. You've got a good aspect of tone and gear and all that kind of stuff. And you know how to communicate a song. The other 80%, though, I'm going to say you're probably not. And you probably don't know how to get to that next level. And so what it took for me, for anybody that cares, is like literally every single day, right out of college, I went to Belmont, and right out of college, I jumped in with a group, kind of a bluegrass group, and we practiced for 6 months. They had a catalog of 100 songs that you had to know at will. Some of y'all's song books are probably about at 100, which we already covered that on the last webinar. They shouldn't be, but even if they are, every single day from 6:30 a.m. to about 9:30 a.m., we went over to their house, we got in front of a mirror, and we sat there, and we would cover, God, I haven't thought about this in forever. We would cover 3 songs a day, so Monday through Friday. So what we would do is Monday, we did 3 songs. We're reading the charts, number system. Do y'all read numbers? Let me know. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all read numbers. That's maybe the greatest thing that you could ever do for just musically, is reading numbers. It's amazing. It's hard for me to read anything else other than the number system. So we would take 3 songs for that day, and we'd run through them a couple times, and that would be it. Then Tuesday, we would go back over those 3 songs. Hopefully we knew them pretty good, but then we would learn 3 new ones. So then Wednesday, we'd cover the 6 songs that we did Monday and Tuesday. We'd go through, work out any kinks, learn 3 new ones. Thursday, same thing. Now you go over all the songs, learn 3 new ones. And so that's literally how we progressed to where within 2 weeks, I mean, we knew quite a few songs really, really well, and we were getting a lot of exposure to all those songs. So that's like literally over 6 months. If you're pretty competent at your instrument already, you would be surprised at daily for 6 months. If you're really into Hillsong and you want to make a song sound just like Hillsong, you can do that. But it's going to take every single day figuring out the parts, listening to the pads in the background, listening to the guitars. You might have to learn the parts in order to teach it to your team, maybe. If you're an artist, try to recreate live what one of your influencers is doing. If you love John Foreman, for instance, like on stage, like what's that guy doing on stage? How is he communicating it? Chances are you're not doing that, and so you need to figure that out. So every day you kind of do that. That is the way to get better at anything. That is a growth mindset, and that is a guy or a girl who is, I feel like, rooted in the gospel, knows where they want to go. They've got the goals. They know where they want to go, and they start systematically breaking it down and knocking it out, and you embrace the suck. It's not going to be fun, and you're going to have to do things that make you feel uncomfortable. You're going to have to learn the lines and learn the licks, work on your voice, do whatever. Not fun work. Not fun work at all, but that lets you know that you're doing something right. Then you start getting that feedback. You record yourself, like we talked about it. Then you get other folks involved and say, hey, where am I at? You know, how do I do that? You're writing songs every day. You're object writing every day. Like that person, see yourself at wherever you're wanting to be in your goals. See that kind of person and start living like that person now, and do it for God's glory. Don't do it for your own. Okay, guys, that's all I got this time. Thank y'all for jumping on here. For the 62 folks that kind of like are on here, I appreciate it. Let me know. Shoot me an email with your goals, guys. Keith@therocketcompany.com. Let me go back over to Twitter real quick and see. One new notification. Let's see. What do you think that using the number system is so good? I've never used it. Oh man, well, Dwayne, like real quick, the number system. If your whole team knows the number system, then you don't have to worry about keys anymore. Thank you guys for jumping on. I appreciate it. Feel free to dip out whenever, but for the number system, it's literally like instead of giving like a chord chart up there, you're going to do, instead of a G, you do a 1. And then if you change the key, you don't have to print out new sheets for everybody, and you have to do that. It's literally like, no, the 1's the same. It just depends on what key the 1 is in. Then everything goes from that. So it's like a really, really efficient. You can start kind of making special notes on there, like, you're putting diamonds, you're doing walk-ups and downs, and like even the drummer will start going by those numbers every single time. And so that's why I love it personally, and it's hard for me to use no other charts now that kind of say G, B, whatever, all that kind of stuff. So I hope that answered your question there. Josiah, hey Keith, in determining your goals for worship ministry, what factors, considerations are most important to you? Man, I am a big, are you still on the call, brother? Where was it, Josiah? Let me know you're still over there in the chat. Whenever I'm determining my goals, okay, so I've never been a pastor before, just like a worship pastor, but like I'm always wanting to honor the senior pastor and the culture, the gospel culture that he is trying to build. And so, oh, yep, okay, awesome. Joseph, there are a lot of good number system. Yeah, don't buy anything from the number system. Like, learn it yourself. It's so much more rewarding when you do that. But Josiah, when I meet with the pastor and we get the vision for whatever that next season is that we're gonna be focused on, then I will look at the resources that I've got. I've been in church plants, I've been in some bigger churches, and it depends on kind of what we have in our budget for that. Sometimes I've not had a budget, and it's just been me with a guitar. But I'll look and say, okay, he's wanting to do this, and I work under his authority, and I've got my team, I've got my resources. This is how we're going to hit a home run for Christ and get us to wherever that vision is. So I kind of let that frame it up. Now, personally, well, let me go back to that. Anything that I'm doing, I want to make sure that it's setting the pastor up for success and it's setting our church up for success. And ultimately, it aligns with the gospel. If it does not align with the gospel, I will not do it, and I would not be a part of it anyway. That's like non-negotiables. Okay, still, oh man, there's still like a lot of y'all on here. This is awesome. So I hope that helps. Professionally, after spending time in the Word, at least this is how it's worked for me, spending time in the Word, asking those 2 questions, who are you, Lord? What should I do? That what should I do part, you'll see that after a couple weeks and months and years, that starts to build up, and you see patterns in your own life, and you'll see that it's really clear, man, who and where God is calling you to. And once you figure out, okay, I'm supposed to be doing this in this season of life, I feel led by the Lord to do that. And then I will try to create a strategy for getting there. And the whole thing, man, I want to just soak it in prayer, because this is my best effort. And a lot of times I'm a screw up. And so the Lord will have to use that for, in his way, and I believe that he has. And so there may be skills that I need to develop. There may be people that I need to come together on stuff to get us to that, or to get me to that. And so I want to pray about it every day. I want to ask the Lord, here's the mountain, Lord, that I feel like either redirect me to another mountain or show me the tools that I need. And then I go devour. And so I hope that answers your question there. We've got, let's see, just keep talking. Colleen, so I've seen the diamonds and not sure what that is notating. Well, a diamond is like, at the end of a song, if you're a keyboard player, you're just kind of like hitting that 1. So, if the song is like 1, 2, 3, 4, on the keys, you're just playing the 1 and you let it ring. That's what it is. On a guitar, it's like that 1 strum. It's usually like ending the song or maybe kind of breaking it down a little bit, and so you're just playing that 1. But that's the kind of stuff that the number system it'll help you start thinking like, at least the professional musicians here in Nashville, it's all numbers. And that the number system will allow them to go into a session and sustain downbeat. Yeah, there you go. Joseph, you obviously know what you're talking about there. So it allows everybody to kind of be on the same page. And what you'll find is you'll start making your own little marks that kind of mean your own thing, and you create your own number system, which is a lot of fun. All right, any more questions? I'll stay on here as long as you guys are on here, just answering questions. But if we're done, let's see. And no, David, that is not me in that. Let's see, 2 new notifications. Goals, email sent. Awesome. What do you mean with the numbers? Melissa, you still on the call? Let's see if Melissa's still on there. I think, man, 57 of y'all still on here. That's awesome. Have y'all emailed your goals yet? You need to go email your goals. Keith@therocketcompany.com. Keith@therocketcompany.com. Email me your goals, like the 3 things that you're focused on right now for this time. All right, are you still on here? Joseph, what's your day job? Dude, gosh, man. You know, the Lord absolutely brought it together with the Rocket Company to where I get to do stuff like this during the day. It's absolutely awesome, man. But I love internet marketing, love marketing in general. And so I do a lot with a lot of other companies, and I've got a couple companies that do some stuff, but my heart is ultimately I want to make sure that the worship culture is connected to the gospel. And that's what I want to do. I want to raise up more worship leaders because there's not enough. There's not enough good ones. And I want for churches to be well taken care of in worship. And the Rocket Company, I've not seen another company that has done a better job of it. Absolutely. I mean, it gets me on fire, man. Gets me on fire. Savannah, thank you for doing that. Robert, Colleen, awesome. Melissa, oh yes, okay, Melissa. So you asked about numbers. Is there anything specifically with that, Melissa Reed? So you've got a chart, Melissa, for whatever song it may be, and that chart will say play a G here, go to a C, go to a D, and it just tells you where that's at. Well, what the number system will say is instead of a G, it says a 1, because that's the first number in that scale, and so it's literally like that da 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 da, and so you're doing da da da. That's a 2, and so you'll figure out how to write those on the chart, and you'll start seeing it that way. I hope that helps. Dee Dee, how do you knowing when it's time to take it to the next level? I feel like I avoid moving forward into something that's amazing out of fear. Feels like I'm drifting. Have I ever struggled with it? Dee Dee, that's exactly. Read this. Absolutely read it. It's a game changer for you, Dee Dee. Yes, we all struggle with it. Everybody in this chat struggles with it. And what you owe it to God to do is literally to figure out what that is. Don't be stupid and jump out. I don't think God's going to tell you to quit your job not having anything else lined up. I mean, maybe he will, but I think that there's a smart way to go about doing that brings ultimate glory to God and doesn't burn any bridges. So if you're avoiding moving forward, that's the drift. That is resistance, and you've got to press through that. And I experience it every day, and if it's writing, for instance, I avoid writing like the plague, and you have to show up every single day. You have to get to where you enjoy being uncomfortable. More than you enjoy Netflix, or more than you enjoy binge eating, or whatever it may be. And you'll find that sin, literally, is it's a big part of the drift. A big part of the drift. Whenever you're avoiding making a decision on whatever it may be, even if it's I don't feel like the Lord's wanting me to do this now, so I'm not even going to think about it. That's better than just living in the Bermuda Triangle and never really committing and never doing anything. And you'll find that you'll be drawn to alcohol, you'll be drawn to porn, you'll be drawn to flirting with this person, you'll be drawn to laziness, you'll be drawn to anything that keeps you from doing whatever it is that God wants you to do. And so, not to get crazy deep spiritually, but if you do not know where you are going with that target, if you don't know where you're going, the enemy will have you running all over the place. And how do you know? You don't. So you've got to be very clear on where God wants you to be and what he wants you to do. And that's maybe the first thing that you need to do is dive into the Word. If you don't know where to start in Hebrews. It's absolutely amazing. Dive into Hebrews, dive into prayer. Let's go back to the chat here. Hope that was helpful. All right, guys. All right, that's all I got. I love y'all so much because I feel like there's a camaraderie, and I feel like the 55 people who are still here, y'all are just amazing. So shoot me an email. That's my email. If you ever have questions, shoot me some stuff, and maybe we can chat. And hit me up on Twitter at English Cooking. And love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.